and I'll touch on what my role is in that as the presentation goes through. So this is just a brief bio of what Jamie's been up to. He's a busy lad. So in terms of his success, Jamie tells a story that when he was working at the River Cafe, they were filming for the River Cafe series for the BBC, and Jamie had just finished a shift and went home, and then the restaurant rang and said, "Oh look, somebody's running sick, would you mind coming back and working?" So he said, "Yep, sure, no problem." Came back, and the BBC were filming Ruth Rogers and Rose Gray, the River Cafe series, and they needed to test the lighting and the sound and the camera. And so Jamie was busy making whatever he was doing, and they turned the camera and said, "Oh, would you just explain what you're doing?" And he was making one of his signature dishes, which is like a rotolo. So he did his little bit, like very natural, and explained what he was doing. And basically, they went back, took the rushes back to the BBC. The director of the series, the River Cafe, saw the rushes and said that, that this guy's got something. So the BBC rang Jamie and said, "Oh, we saw you on camera yesterday. Would you come in for the BBC and be interested in doing a pilot?" And Jamie thought it was his mates from Essex playing a joke, so he kept on hanging up the phone and saying, "Yeah, whatever." But that's kind of like how it all began. And I think it's a really poignant point that he tells and the story that he tells, because he says his success is about hard work, but it's about luck as well, which is really, he tells that story very well, and something that I think when I first learnt of that when I was his PA, it sort of stuck with me as well. So before I started working for Jamie in the brand team, he really was at the time in danger of being overexposed in the UK. So I said before, the company was family and friends that ran it. He didn't have a brand person on board way back before I started. And two things happened which really changed his career for him. Firstly, he started 15, which is the restaurant in London that we train unemployed, disadvantaged youth. Next year is our 10th anniversary, 10 years on from when the original restaurant started. He started that because he felt that his success, he wanted to give something back, so he did something from his heart, which was quite incredible. Our office is just around the corner from 15, and for me it's one of the most important things that I've ever been involved in terms of Jamie's company. He started at 15, but then also he employed a brand strategist. So I worked really closely within the brand team, and there's lots of stories about what is a brand and working out somebody's brand strategy, and I think sometimes people can overcomplicate things, but really it's just about finding out what you're passionate about, finding out what drives you, and then coming up with your values in terms of how that's transported across the company. So